Welcome to the Abundant Life Podcast, bringing you encouragement and challenging believers to spiritual change and growth by applying biblical principles to everyday life. And now your hosts, Saso, Mendez and Ben Arellano.
Welcome, everybody, to the Abundant Life Podcast. This is episode number 71. And I'm here with my good friend and faithful servant in the faith, Saso Mendez.
Hey, Ben, what's going on?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
I'm good, man. It's been a day, to be honest with you.
It's been a week.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been really busy.
But
I miss getting paid by the hour.
Excited to do the show tonight. We've got a repeat customer. We got a frequent flyer that is back.
Well, our preferred vendor of any air conditioning needs, Nicole Mercado, for the official sponsor of the Abundant Life Podcast.
Welcome back. Welcome back.
Thank you. I mean, I'm not as recurring as Rebecca. She is the queen.
She is.
The queen co-host of the Abundant Life Podcast, but I'm honored to be back.
I mean, two become one, right? So it's Saso and, you know.
I've been on 71 episodes.
Yeah. What's a brother got to do to get a hat?
You just ask for one. We'll get you one. Done.
All right. All right.
I love my black one. And I love the Old English shirt that Kate stole from me.
We'll get you another one
When
of
she
those.
gets married, I'm going to take it.
You guys should make a shirt with Tony because he did the commercial. And, you know, or that where he's like,
Okay.
you know, he makes that face where you
Okay.
you show him the picture. I think Carlos shows him the picture.
I love the marketing ideas.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I'll take that to the marketing department.
Or we should show him the picture from Tony from FTL, you know,
Oh, yeah, where he's super annoyed by this guy, and so he puts his head back.
That would make a good sticker.
Oh, it would.
Yeah.
Or Ben, or I might send it to you. So.
The picture's hilarious. It's so funny.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
He was just super annoyed, and he doesn't hide his facial expressions, his body language.
Well, it was
especially when you're 6'4" and 315 pounds. It's hard to hide those.
It's hard to hide anything at that point.
Yep, exactly.
Yes.
And the funny part is I don't think anybody else noticed. I noticed because I was sitting across and I took the picture.
Yeah, I could see his nose hairs.
His
N95
100%.
filters. Yeah,
100%.
So Nicole, on just another note, I see you had my dad over for dinner. What did you serve?
Oh, we served quesadillas, carne asada. What else did we make?
I've not been to the Holy Grail, the Mercado household yet.
Did we? What was that meat?
Maybe one day.
Desmio, is that what it's called?
Oh, that's just his beef. That's
like a rib type of, like a flat.
Like a costillo or something, or
well, the flank is different. That's the ranchera, I think. That's
We had carne asada, but we had these other little things that Carlos makes, and they have little bones in them. And he's looking at me like
short ribs.
Short ribs. That's what I was
okay, there we go. Short ribs.
Okay, sure. Yeah, Rebecca loves short ribs.
Yeah.
You grilled them or smoked them or what?
Yeah,
Carlos said he grilled them.
And then I think I had maybe guacamole. Maybe I don't know. Oh, I made some jalapeno rice. Yeah, so it was good.
Jalapeno rice.
Yeah, your dad kept saying, "I've never had green rice before," and I was like, "Oh,
is that good or bad?"
I don't know, but it was delicious.
I've never had jalapeno rice.
No,
rice. I mean, Mexican rice that I've had is all red rice or orange rice, whatever. Diane makes really good Mexican rice. I know Rebecca does too. But I've never had.
So this one, like instead of a tomato, you blend jalapenos, cilantro, onion, garlic, and then you use chicken bouillon. It can be if the jalapeno's hot, but like the sauce is green and it comes out really good.
Well, we know it's hotter than a tomato, right? I mean,
yes.
The Scoville levels are much higher, right?
Well, I've seen people, they put, you ever heard of, what is it, el pato? The little sauce. Instead of using tomato sauce, use that. It's a little spicier. Yeah, and they have the jalapeno kind, and then the
green one.
The yellow one. The green one's a jalapeno.
The yellow's the OG one.
Right. Yeah. But it's good. We used to just dip on that like salsa. It's pretty good.
When I was a kid, my dad and sister would get their own can. I mean, my mom would share.
Like to dip some chips?
Yeah, I remember it was like 10 for $1. My mom would stock up.
They're still pretty cheap, I think. Yeah, inflation. I'm probably like $3 now, maybe, but
maybe. I can't even remember. I think
they might be
over $1 each. Yeah, for sure.
I think we need
$1 each.
No, over. I think.
And then they had the bigger can.
Yeah.
And then they have the bigger can. They just put little plastic over and put it in the fridge.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have you over when my kitchen's done being built.
Are you remodeling it or what?
Yeah, we're actually moving it to an entire different part of the house.
Wow.
Like you're adding on?
Well, we have an addition, and it wasn't really being used for anything. So our kitchen now is really small. So we're moving it to that bigger area. So when your mom and dad came, we already had the dining room moved there, but my cabinets were just all over the place. So now they're actually on the wall waiting for countertops.
Who's doing the work? Carlos?
Well, yes, but also our dear pastor, Pastor Ekblad, who is a man of many talents.
Like, you better never leave our church because I'm putting blood, sweat, and tears in here. I love you guys.
He does.
That
He
is a labor
definitely
of love.
locked us in. Yes, he's definitely a blessing. That's for sure. He has put in many long hours. Like, what I mean
is he working right now there while you guys are doing the podcast? Or?
You know what? You joke about that, but hey,
I'm not joking.
When we were in, where were we? San Diego? And when we went to Hawaii, he worked while we were gone on vacation. He went to our house to paint and do all that. So does
he have a key?
He's an angel. That day he had a key, which he promptly returns after he's done with his work. So it doesn't seem like, whatever.
I just seen your house at night when I dropped Carlos off.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty scary at night, probably.
Is it?
But,
I think he had Christmas lights on or something.
Oh, yeah, that was a while ago.
Are they the year-round Christmas lights? You know what I mean?
No.
True Mexican.
I know we have a neighbor.
I wait until the last possible minute to celebrate Christmas, and then they promptly come off when it's time. There's a season for it, and I just can't celebrate Christmas right now. It's still hot.
Yeah, it's true.
Some people do.
I want to get those Ever lights.
That's just me, though.
My investment.
Yeah, those are pretty nice. But
$4,000 and just never put them up again.
Honestly, I could care less about decorating for Christmas. It's just Diane. She loves the lights.
Under the bus.
Yeah.
Trademarks.
It's okay, but I love her, so I do it.
Aww.
I hope so. I mean, she's right here. She's going to throw a chancla at you. What'd you say?
I like fall, actually. That's my favorite decor. And my birthday is usually the first day of fall. So
when is your birthday?
September 22nd.
Oh, it's coming up.
It's coming up.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow, that is coming up pretty soon.
So I will
Hopefully
be accepting cash and gifts all week, guys.
Cataloo Air, just look it up. You can send
Venmo.
She's registered.
Zelle.
At Amazon.
You can put my
birthday gift.
Cash
PayPal.
App handle at the bottom of the screen if you want.
Afterwards. Apple Pay.
On the YouTube channel. Tony, 22nd. So that is, what is that, Sunday?
Monday.
Sorry.
Yeah.
I think today's Wednesday. Wow. Yeah. What do you got planned?
Nothing.
The fair? Or?
No, nothing.
Nothing?
Yeah.
I'm sure Carlos, he's a romantic guy. He took you to Hawaii. I'm sure he has something planned.
Well, my mother-in-law's birthday was yesterday, so we're going to celebrate together on Saturday. But really, I don't have parties for my birthday. I just...
I know, but dinner or what's your favorite restaurant?
Pita Jungle.
Really?
Yes. I love Pita Jungle.
Like above every... Like that's your go-to?
Your birthday?
I will never get tired of Pita Jungle. So, you know how sometimes you have different tastes on a certain day? You're like, oh, I'm feeling Italian or this. If somebody's like, let's just go to Pita Jungle, I could be feeling like eating Chinese food. I will go eat at Pita Jungle. I love it that much.
Wow.
Because even I get sick of B-dubs.
But if you go back to the time before you got sick of B-dubs, I mean, that's kind of that whole scenario, right? I mean,
it just takes a day or two, then I'm back.
I'm just saying, you wouldn't pick B-dubs for your birthday, though. Right? I mean,
no.
Yeah.
No.
Right.
No.
As much as you like it or kind of don't like it now, but whatever.
I would pick Matt's.
Well, I mean, I've gone to Ruth Chris, for an anniversary or birthday, but
good. I'm down for some
affordable
Ruth Chris.
stuff.
That's good.
Yeah, but those
Pita
are
Jungle.
once a year stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which is your birthday?
What's your birthday?
Yeah.
I like Houston's, right? That's my kind of in between Ruth Chris.
I've never heard of that place. Is it here? Sorry.
Yes. How about Hillstone?
I'm sorry. Wow. Clearly, I'm not as sophisticated as you, Saso.
Maybe not. That's okay, though. We can get you there.
Okay.
It's good stuff. I took
You
her back
can take me for my birthday.
I could.
Okay.
There you go.
There we
I'd be
go.
okay with that.
Locked and loaded.
Is Carlos coming?
Yes.
Okay, water with lemon for this guy. Extra lemon, please. I'm feeling generous. No, that'd be great. So we talked about food, right? You kind of weird. You don't like other things than Pita Jungle, but that's okay. Very strange to me. There's a lot of restaurants we can go to. But just on a serious note, we had texted a little bit about, Charlie Kirk, and I think we'd be remiss. And I think Ben and I will discuss maybe doing a podcast about his life. And
I would love to make that our next episode.
Yeah, we got the opportunity to go see him live last October with Carrie Lake. And
I feel so dumb that we didn't get a picture with him. He was right there. I really wish that we.
I got a picture of him, but not with him.
Right. I would like to have got one with him. I got a picture of him.
He was
too.
a foot taller than I, so I didn't,
He was a tall guy. I know he was drinking Starbucks, and
yeah, he was.
I was kind of thinking, Charlie Kirk, you're a conservative guy drinking Starbucks. Anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good dude, man.
Yeah.
tragic.
Yeah, and that really is. And we really see the heart of the people of America. And even the world, I think, has shown more respect than I really believe we are in the last days. And what I appreciate, and I was saying this at Freedom at Last, is that these people that have been vile and said crazy, ridiculous things for a man that was murdered in front of thousands of people and probably millions. That have seen it online, that God would still save the killer that killed Charlie Kirk. And Charlie Kirk would be welcoming him to heaven. And that's the power of the gospel, right? The gospel is the gospel for everybody. It's just not for, because we're all in the same spot, right? Ben heard a message this Sunday about Paul being, on the level of the shooter persecuting Christians at the death of Stephen, who was one of God's people. And Stephen said, God forgive them, right? And he went up and God took him. And that was all of us too. We just, the Bible standard of murder. And so I just appreciate the power of the gospel and that God is willing to save everybody, even those that would say the
most vile things,
blasphemous, grotesque things towards God, towards Charlie Kirk, towards a man that had a family and kids. And so I was just grateful to God that he forgave me too for all the, the dumb stuff I've said. And, but yeah, I think our next podcast will probably be Charlie Kirk. I want to work on a devotional for that. But I just praise God for the stand he had. And then I think this is God's throwing out the net to the world to say, all these people that are watching his clips where he gave the gospel another opportunity to say, like Noah, right? The door is shutting. You better get into the boat or you're going to perish. And this is, God's final call to the world, really. I believe that he used Charlie's death to really get it out there.
Well, I mean, it's global news, and there's people worldwide reacting to this, whether it's be positive or negative. But I would agree. I mean, this is not just a celebrity dying. It was literal persecution in the United States of America, our first major persecution, and it was heard globally. And there's people that are coming to Christ because of this. It's almost like I think of talking about separating the goats from the sheep. Like it almost seems like that's kind of what's happening, because you're seeing all this hatred bubble up, but you're also seeing people that were on that side coming over. People, I was at a Wednesday night service, and they were saying that they had 20 new families come to church this past Sunday as a result. And so I think people are now starting to think and starting to look at Charlie Kirk and say, well, who's this Jesus guy that he's been talking about? And I think it's making them think. And I think there's just this change or shift that's happening right now. It's kind of exciting, honestly. It's tragic as I'll get out for Charlie and for Erica and the kids. But I think God can bring good out of evil. And I think that's what we're seeing right now.
And the crazy thing is that he had just spoke on Romans 8:28-29, right? That God works all things together for good, for that the man of God may be thoroughly furnished into good works. And I think a lot of Christians are being challenged to say, man, this guy stood for something. And you had sent me a verse, believe last night, saying that we would all be ready to give an account of our salvation, of the eternal life. And I think Charlie in the last years had become really, really good at that. Even to the fact where a Mormon, before he got shot, was questioning him, and he gave the gospel to all those people. And just people at church, we had new people come too that said, my parents come here, I'm not interested, but man, that testimony of Charlie Kirk, I want to be like that man, right? And he puts all his husbands to shame, and we're like, wow, this guy, unbelievable.
Not Carlos.
No, not Carlos.
Not Carlos.
He just took you to Hawaii, so hard to compete with that.
Oh, that's a whole nother story, but that's a whole nother episode about how I survived a tsunami evacuation. # I'm a survivor.
That Oprah wasn't there, didn't send a plane for you guys?
I was on the other island, actually. We were in Oahu. She shut down the roads in Maui.
So you weren't in Maui?
No, I was not in Maui.
Okay.
No, but
I like Oahu, Pearl Harbor.
But I did die, though, 5 times in the car. Yes, but that, like I said, that's a whole nother story.
Carlos brought you back 5 times.
He had to use, maybe you don't know, but when you take I know you have children, but when you take childbirth classes and they're like, okay, when the wife is saying, oh, I can't do it, then you have to do the take charge method, say, look me in the eye, okay, breathe. That's what he had to do in the car. It was more I need you to get it together. And I'm like, okay. So
Get in shape, maggot.
Yeah. But I want to give a shout out to Pastor Max Fowler from Salt and Light Church in Hawaii, in Oahu, because he did our vow renewal earlier that morning. We didn't know he was a Christian because you don't know who's going to like show up when you do a vow renewal when you pay through a little company. But we got to talking before we did it, and we found out that he was a pastor, and he had told us after we were all done, you know, if you need anything while you're here, give me a call. Little did he know that night I would be calling him in tears because I was like hyperventilating about this tsunami that was coming, right? And we went to his house and he made us dinner and we got to hang out with him because he lived in a tsunami safe zone, which was literally 3 houses past the tsunami safe zone sign, right? But I felt better.
Did anybody die in that tsunami?
The tsunami didn't happen.
Oh, boy.
Yes. So
It's like drowning in 4 feet of water.
yeah, well,
Stand up,
here's
Nicole.
the thing is that I get to tell, I have the mic, right? So Carlos could counteract this entire thing, but this is my truth. We're going to use that term. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
But it was definitely an experience. But Max was great. Him and his wife, Vanessa, they took us in. We prayed, got to know about their life. We got to share our testimony. And now we have friends in Hawaii.
That's awesome.
Dr. Tillotson and now friends in Hawaii.
I don't
Like
know if you know this. I'm a big deal.
Your net is widely cast.
It is.
Yeah.
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 I'm gonna have to hit you up on LinkedIn.
I should probably update that, but yes.
Yeah, me too.
I'm trying to get in your network.
Yeah, maybe if you'll accept us.
I mean,
if you'll accept our friend request.
I'm taking applications.
Yep.
So
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
I already got my dryer fixed, with Ken Lou Air. Scared of a house fire because of Tony. Great marketing.
Yeah.
oh man.
Yeah.
Shall we get into some
Let's
content?
get into
here?
content
Yeah,
here.
I think
Sorry, guys.
Taco Talk went pretty long today. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Sorry.
Love you, bye.
Real quick before we get into the content, just a reminder, visit us at abundantlife.fm. You can see all of our old podcast episodes along with show notes and other recommendations. I don't know that we've added Canaloo to the site. We may have to add Canaloo as a link on the site, as a reference, as a referral.
Put that Tony commercial.
You guys
on
do
there.
affiliate payouts for people that refer you business, a little commission?
Oh man, we can talk about that.
How about hats?
I could pay in hats.
For every 5 people, you get a
Yeah,
hat.
I just wanna-
D-bags tickets.
I just want a Tony t-shirt. That's what I want.
Listen, once we get the Tony t-shirt out, you guys will be the first 2 to have one.
Yes.
Okay?
That head can't get any bigger, though. If you give him his own shirt, he's going to be he's already big. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
Carlos told me, your head's too big to fit in the room, but Tony's head's even bigger. Wow.
And you can also visit us on social media. We are on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, I believe. And so with that, we're going to get into our content today. We're going to be talking about the topic of adoption. I know we've had other episodes on this, but this is just a little bit different spin on it. I think you guys will be blessed with this story. And Saso is going to kick us off with our key verse today.
So we are going to Galatians chapter 4, verses 5 through 7, to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoption of sons. And because ye are sons, God hath sent forth the Spirit of his Son into your hearts, crying, Abba, Father. So Nicole, kick us off and just kind of tell us what brings you here to speak about the story of adoption and how it relates to God adopting us into his family.
Sure. So, as you know, Carlos and I have 5 children, 4 of which...
Mercy. I'm glad it took you to Hawaii. Wow. That seems like nothing.
Hey, if you want to get a good night's sleep after having 5 kids, you have to fly 3,000 miles across the ocean.
Wow.
And survive a tsunami evacuation. I will plug that again.
Tsunami's nothing compared to the 5 kids. But
Exactly.
yeah.
So yes, we had 4 daughters, right? And we're not planning to have any more children. And people would always ask, are you going to have more kids or are you wanting a boy? And that was not even on our radar. We were happy with the 4 girls that God gave us, and we knew it was for a reason. Well, now we have a son. His name is Mateo. He's going to be 2 in November. And it's really crazy to think that we got him when he was 3 weeks old. So the first 17 months of his life were a really trying time, emotionally, maybe spiritually, mentally, physically, all the things. But pretty much, Mateo is actually biologically my nephew. His biological father is my brother, and my brother is at the moment and has been for a while, on drugs in the streets, unfortunately. So we knew that this baby was coming in 2023. We just didn't know when. And one day we just got a call stating that the baby was born, right? So we didn't know what was going to happen with him because at that point the biological parents were trying to, keep him as, I don't know. Anyways, December 20th, though, was the day. He was born November 28th. He was 6 weeks early because his biological mom is a user, right? So when he was born, 6 weeks early, he had fentanyl and meth in his system. And so he had to get special care, obviously, because he was also really small. He was like 4.5 pounds when he was born. So the time came for him to be discharged because, thank God, he wasn't as bad, or he didn't need the level of care that most babies that are born that way needed. So he was fine to be released from the hospital. He just didn't have 2 healthy parents that could take him. So they called me at 8 a.m. and they were like, hey, we have this baby that's ready to be released. Would you be willing to take him? And I'm like, yeah, we can take him. And they said, okay, well, we need to get some stuff signed by the courts, and we'll let you know. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, well, that's going to take like a few days. And I said, well, how soon does that happen? They said, oh, by this afternoon, and a DCS caseworker is going to go to your house and investigate your house and then interview you guys. Oh, wow. And when they interview you, they really interview you. Like, they made us separate. Like, they interviewed me. They sent my mom outside and my husband outside, and they asked you questions like, how do you resolve conflict? Do you and your husband fight? Were you spanked as a child? Do you spank your kids? Like, lots of things. Well, we passed. So,
what did you say? Did you spank your kids?
Maybe that's personal. I don't know. You okay answering that?
I think, I don't remember what I said, but the answer I gave, my kids were sitting on the couch and they were like, they were shocked at my answer, I guess.
They interviewed your kids.
Yeah, we spanked our kids. I mean, it was just yeah.
Well, we did. I mean,
discipline.
if this is being recorded, I don't remember what I said, but yeah, I spanked my kids. Okay, so there you go. But
that's biblical, right? There's nothing God command.
We don't spread the rod.
If you love your kids, right?
But when you're being put under all that pressure, like, you don't know what the right answer is. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Like, So by 1:00 that afternoon, we had ripped open a car seat from Target, and we were at the hospital, right? And getting ready to take this little redheaded baby in, who was now 5.5 pounds.
Just like Carlos.
Canelo, bro. Maybe you're right. Maybe you are related.
I think so.
Little cinnamon.
Little cinnamon.
That was actually his nickname for a while.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Viva Mexico. I'm just kidding.
It's better than his other name, right?
Yes.
His first name.
Yes. At the time, that was his old name, right?
Yeah.
So we had a new baby all within a matter of hours, and we did not sleep. When it comes to keeping your home comfortable, you want a company you can trust, one that serves with excellence, integrity, and faith. At Canaloo Air, we're a Christian-owned plumbing and HVAC contractor proudly serving the Phoenix metro area. Whether you need prompt AC repair, expert plumbing solutions, or a brand new system installation, our family is here to serve your family with honesty and care. So call us today at 602-609-3480 or visit canalooair.com to schedule your service. That's 602-609-3480 or canalooair.com. Canaloo Air, keeping your home cool, comfortable, and cared for with values that matter.
So a quick question just to go back. So when you found out that your brother, was expecting, did you guys already have like a thought that you would become the parents, or you take him in, or how did that transpire where you became like next in line to take the baby?
It wasn't until he was born that, because we didn't know for sure if the mom was pregnant because they were living on the street. So it was just more like rumors of what she said. We had a few family members kind of see them out on the street and be like, well, she doesn't really look pregnant because she's a very tiny woman. So we didn't know if she really was pregnant. But anyways, once he was born, I had asked Carlos at the kitchen table, because I knew they couldn't take care of a baby. I said, if they ask us to take this baby, because that's a big responsibility, right? We were done. I mentioned that in the beginning. We were not having any more kids, and our youngest one was already 2. So it was like we were sleeping through the night. We had our routine, all that good stuff. So he's like, yeah. And I said, okay. And that's kind of just where we left it. And then just through the whole, like, a DCS case being opened because the baby was born exposed and all this other stuff. My name got in the orbit because I was family. And so I did have a talk with the case manager maybe about a week or so before we knew what was going to happen. And he had asked, would you be willing to take the baby in if needed? And I said, yeah, but we didn't really know that that was going to happen because based on the stories that we were hearing from the parents, they were going to get the baby. And as you know, people that are in that situation don't always tell the truth, right? So we were really kind of left in the dark. And also, my brother's and mine relationship was not good. So I hadn't spoken to my brother at that point for like a year and a half. So he wasn't going to, I was the last person that was going to know any information. So yeah, and even since then, I haven't spoken to him. So it's been a long time. I think since October 2022, I've seen him one time in person.
Wow.
And that was when we had to take the baby to get a paternity test, which is a whole nother thing of why I know God had his hand on this, because when the baby was born, the biological mom is legally married to another man, right? So the lawyers did not know this. So when I got the baby, I'm the paternal aunt. We had a court date in January, so a few weeks after I've had the baby, and then it was brought up that she was married. Well, she's not married to my brother. So at that point, the husband is considered the legal father. Had that information been known in the beginning, I'm nobody to the baby, right? So I wouldn't have gotten the baby. So that was kind of my first, I know, this is like
pretty deep.
Heavy stuff, right?
Yeah.
It just shows the Lord's providence in it all, though. You know?
This is how I knew at that moment, like, okay, like as hard as this is, I know that God has a bigger plan. And I'd like to say that it was always that easy to say that. It was not. But at that moment, 2 weeks in, that's what had happened.
So just kind of going back, so they had to do a DNA test to make sure you were the maternal aunt to the baby.
Paternal aunt, yeah.
Yes, and that was the longest wait because when they say they need a DNA test, then that puts a seed of doubt, especially, like in my mom, because my mom helped me a lot with the baby in the beginning. And so she really started to bond with him. Well, we had him for about 2 or 3 weeks. We had to get the paternity test. And from there, it was about another 3-week wait. So there was that chance that, what if this baby is not my brother's? Then what do we do? Because she already started bonding with him. And she had even asked me, if he's not his, can we still keep the baby? And I'm like, I'm not a certified foster parent. I'm what was called kinship care, which means I only had him because I was family. At that point, he would have to go with like a certified foster family. So that was a long wait. It was rough, but we looked at the baby, and as you know, the Mendezes have a very distinct feature, right? Yeah. And so we looked at him, we're like, no, he has to be his. But he was, after we waited 3 weeks.
Yeah, because so I imagine the woman that she, and the marriage, that the husband wasn't beating down your door wanting the baby.
Right.
No, he had actually, the woman has other children, and so she has children with her husband, and he had taken them and moved across the country to be back where they're originally from on the East Coast. So he was kind of like trying to rebuild his life and take care of his kids. So yeah, and I found out shortly after the adoption that he really doesn't want to have anything to do, for obvious reasons, with Teo, but he also doesn't want his children right now to even really know him or anything, and that's kind of sad, but I'm praying about that because he has his 4 sisters that live with him. He has a brother another child that my brother has who's a few years older than him. And then he has 3 other siblings from his biological mom. So like
I got money just in case he's here today. I told him how to give him money.
So he's like one of 9, maybe? I think he's the youngest of 9 or 8 if you count.
Like all together?
Yeah, if you count adopted, halves, and all that. So.
Wow.
Yep.
Go ahead, Ben. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, how did that play on your spiritual life? Like, I mean, from the time that you kind of had the conversation with Carlos, like, hey, what are we going to do if up until you were going through the test, the DNA test, like.
Yeah. I think for me, the most difficult part of it was in the beginning was the late night feedings. And I know that doesn't sound like a lot, but it was because, again, like I said, I was sleeping through the night and having to wake up and feed him. I would just look at him and be like, I shouldn't have to be doing this. Like, and I was angry at my brother because I'm like, this is your responsibility. Like this is going to sound bad, but if we're being perfectly honest, I was like, I did my time,
Right,
like,
right. You didn't ask for it.
I didn't ask for this.
Mateo, if you're listening to this later, sorry, buddy.
And this is like in the middle of the night, this is like around the holidays. And I would dread knowing that I wasn't like, I'm going to go to bed and I'm just going to have to get up and I'm tired. And it's a very selfish thing. Okay, so we can highlight that too. I was being very selfish, but it's real how I was feeling.
Well, you had 4 kids, and then you guys have a business,
yes.
Right? And so, I mean, that's not easy either if you're running your own business.
Yes.
So it's a lot of time that you're having to give. So I can understand the frustration. Like that's tough.
And
it's
some
hard.
resentment, right?
It's not hard.
Yeah.
It is hard. I mean, it's not easy to.
Because you're carrying a burden that our responsibility that really is someone else's that has not fulfilled their parental obligation or fatherly or motherly, both because of poor choices.
Right.
Well, and then too, when we spoke to the lawyer, because the baby had his own lawyer, and so when he called me the first court date we had, I asked him, I said, how long does this process take, like as far as knowing what's going to happen with him? And he said it could be up to 18 months. And I had him for 2 weeks at this point. So when you hear the word 18 months, you're like, oh my, like this is a lifetime, right? Because every day at that point felt like 10 years long. Like it was a lot. And so that was part of it too, right? So I'm like, wow, this is going to be a long time. And I didn't know if he was going to stay or if he was going to go. And just that too was like, do I bond? What do I do, right? And my mom, who lives with us, was an amazing help, but she also works full time. So she would say, when I have my days off, I'll help you. And when I have my days off, I'll keep him in my room at night so I can do the feeding. So in the beginning, it was like, great, I'm going to get a good night's sleep. But then one day she was holding him when it was going to be her day off, and she was fast asleep. And I looked at her and I'm like, I felt terrible. I'm like, how about this? I'll take nights and you just help me on your days off. And she's like, okay. And then from that day on, like I kept him every single night, and it was a lot. But yeah, I mean, like how Ben's asking about my spiritual life, if there was anything that teaches you to wait on the Lord, it was that, just because every court date was like, okay, we'll reconvene in 3 months. Okay, you wait for 3 months, you go to your court date. All right, well, they didn't have this paper they needed, so we'll set another court date 3 months from now. And that happened a lot. And so it just got to the point where I was like, I'm not even going to think, oh, what are they going to decide now? Because they're just going to keep kicking the can down the road, And there was a court date that was pretty important, and his parents didn't show up. And this was probably about 4 or 5 months into the thing. And I just thought to myself, wow, nobody's here for him. And that's like a second time that it hit me. Like, they don't care. And how can you? You know what I mean? When you don't know this little person.
And they were notified, I imagine.
Oh, yeah.
In their own way.
They do everything. They do everything. They provide bus passes, everything for you to be able to like get a drug test, everything. They put things out in the newspaper, letters. They even go to your house in person to try to find you. They tried. But they didn't show up. So.
And in that state, right, I think drugs become more important than anything else in your life, even your own family and your own son, which is really sad. And I think of just baby Moses right in the water, and God had provided for him to be rescued and not killed. And in this case, I mean, I don't know, Mateo could be Moses too, I don't know. But how God has a plan for his life, even when, for all of us, right? Even the moment we're born. And thankfully, I had parents, and, you did too. But how you now have become that mom and dad for somebody that, as you said, right, that if he didn't have them, if not me, then who, right?
Right.
And I think that's what we're learning when we talked about Charlie Kirk. Like, we can all feel bad about it, but what are you going to do about it? Like, what actionable things are you going to take? What steps are you going to take to provide for him, right? To be a family more than anything. And so go back. I mean, I remember the day we were there for his official adoption.
Yeah.
I know that was probably because that was just the final, like, he's ours.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And when did that, was that April?
No. So we had gotten him on December 20th, 2023, and our adoption was finalized May 1st, 2025. So, you're at the end of the year, and then you got the whole year of 2024 and then a little bit of 2025. So it seems like a really long time. I think it was like 17 months or something like that.
That
so
is a long time.
It was a long time. And I don't want to not mention that throughout a lot of this, I was meeting with your wife, Rebecca, and not like to use her counseling services. I know that I just have the extreme luxury or privilege of having her as family. So we would meet up for lunch, and she would remind me of that. I would pour my heart out to her about what I was going through at that time with the baby. And she would just keep reminding me that, God has a purpose for his life. And before we knew exactly what was going to happen, she would remind me, you're his mom right now. And even if they were to make a decision where he would go to somebody else, which you don't really, it doesn't sit in your mind that it's permanent until it's permanent. You know what I mean? You don't ever want to assume, and that was really hard for me. She would be like, you're his mom right now. And so I'm like, okay, yep. And then I would tell her, with having the business and all of that, the way I would get through these long gaps between the court dates is I'm like, all right, it's summer, so we're just going to blow through the summer season. I'm not even going to worry about anything, and we're just going to focus on work. And she's like, okay, yeah, you can do that. You can just focus on what you have to do, or you can remember, in all her wisdom, right, that God is faithful. And I'm just like, yes, that's right. So
she does it to me too. She'll say, did you pray? And I'm like, no, I just want you to listen to my problems. I don't want to be counseled. I just want you to agree with me on my complaining and murmuring. I don't want answers. I just want you to listen.
Yeah. So she did help me out a lot throughout all that. And then, fast forward to May 1st, 2025. We adopted him officially, and his name was changed to Mateo, which is what we
Hallelujah.
called him.
From what it was before.
That's what we'd been calling him since he was about 2 months old. But yeah, and you were there. Rebecca was there.
The pastor, the carpenter,
yes.
You know what I mean? General contractor.
The Renaissance pastor, Renaissance man. And a lot of our church family and a lot of our family and the judge, I don't know if you had heard him, but he was pretty shocked to see how many people fit in that courtroom. So I'm like, oh, you don't normally bring this many people to an adoption, and we had a lot of people.
This is a small room.
Yeah, it was a small room.
Yeah.
But it was nice, and there was a giant Trump protest right that day. So a lot of our family that were trying to get there on time got there really late, and they missed the ceremony. But we all went to Peter Piper afterwards and had a great time hanging out. So it was a nice day.
I'm Rebecca Mendez with Lamplight Ministries, where I serve the Lord by loving others through biblical counseling and workshops. Every day, we're reminded of our fallen world. Through disappointment, grief, fear, despair, we need a Savior. And in Jesus Christ, we have that Savior. He came to rescue us, offering His Spirit to guide us and His Word to comfort, correct, and lead us. If you're a follower of Christ, eager to grow in Him, I'd be honored to walk this journey with you through one-on-one biblical counseling. Together, we'll explore God's Word, find encouragement, and pursue faithful obedience to our Savior. Please visit me at lamplightministries.com to book your appointment today.
What I remember, you guys were emotional, obviously, but it's almost like, when we get saved, that's when we become officially, and, the previous months of Mateo, like, that's God's working in your life, throwing things, leading you to himself. And then that day of salvation, like, you are officially his child. And what a powerful example of you taking in Mateo under unique circumstances, for sure, and out of necessity and need. Most people, like we learned, Show Me the Father, I think what the movie is, where people go to China to adopt kids. This was pretty much put in your lap. And I think what if you did not adopt baby Mateo? Where would he be? What would he become?
Yeah.
And how God impressed on your heart, and even working in, Carlos he was on the podcast, and you were on the podcast sharing your testimony, how you came to know Christ. And even at that point, working before Mateo was even born. And the powerful thing is, Mateo he's going to grow up in a Christian home. And could he potentially be the one that leads his own father to Christ, right? His biological father. And God can use him, who knows, right? Mateo Kirk, whatever, you know what I'm saying? You never know what God has in store.
Yeah. And I want to also too, thank my husband, because Teo is my nephew by blood, right? But my husband was the one that, honestly, while I was going through all of these emotions and being angry at my brother and all these things, Carlos would just love on him, you know what I mean? And he didn't have to. He could have said no. He could have said no, that's too much. We already have 4 kids. This is too much. But he didn't even hesitate to say yes. So I just want to say thank you to him, because he's been so patient and loving and giving throughout this whole thing, that even when I was falling short on a lot of areas, I know we all fall short, but especially myself, because of the feelings that I had toward my brother, my husband was just very steadfast and just loved on him. And you can see it to this day, because when he walks in the room, Teo's like, "Daddy, daddy, 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 daddy," and rams him with his head, and all the things.
Got a big head.
Yeah, all the things that boys
little cinnamon.
all the things that boys do. And we get looks, when we go out. They're like, where does he get his red hair from? And so
3rd generation down the line.
It's not the milkman.
We're Irish.
Now it's the Amazon man. That's the thing. So it's not the milkman, it's the Amazon man.
I know.
So we just say that.
It's a new day. It's a new era.
That's right. Amazon man. The FedEx guy.
But when I did see my brother, like I mentioned earlier in the episode, the day we did the paternity test, and that was the first time I had seen him since we had, had a big disagreement, and the last time we had spoken up to that point. And I had thought I had forgiven my brother for a lot of things. And when I saw him in person, you look at somebody who's lived a hard life out in the street, and it broke my heart, because it made me think, did I really forgive my brother through all of that? And so it was just a lot going on, seeing him the way he is, realizing that he couldn't possibly take care of this baby at all. And then also feeling those feelings of anger, resentment, having to take on such a huge responsibility. And I don't want that to come off as I don't love my baby. I love him. That was just very early on. And I think those are just natural things to feel in that kind of situation. But you have to, bring yourself back. What does God want me to learn from this? And our sanctification is not everything's going to be rosy and easy and all this other stuff. Life is hard, So what is God teaching me about love, in taking in Teo and him being my son, and I try to explain that to the kids, because they joke with each other, right? They'll be like, "Oh, you were adopted." And I'm just like, okay, calm down. I'm like, let's not say that, because then that's going to give him a complex when he gets older. I'm like, because listen, just as much as you're my child, Teo's my child too. And I was forced to keep you guys because, I birthed you. I said, Teo, we chose to keep him. I said, so really, he's the favorite.
I'm sure that went over real well.
It did. Sometimes it's hard lessons.
Yeah.
But every day.
Well, that's a powerful story. And I just remember when we first kind of connected, I think that was November. probably when he was born, and then we had you at the house in January, and he was just a baby.
That's right.
And then I had saw you the month before at the cousin's party, and I was like, I just saw them a month ago, and I don't remember Nicole being pregnant, but man, she lost her baby fat like quick.
In 2 days.
Wow, that's impressive. Like, man, this is amazing. And then, I mean, I didn't want to be rude and ask, hey, where'd the baby come from?
Yeah.
But in my mind, I was like,
that was an awkward.
I'm sure you got a lot of questions.
Oh yeah.
So how was it seeing your brother? Did you guys talk at all? Was he upset about the process?
No, he didn't say anything to me.
He didn't say like thank you.
Nope. Wow. And he looked at the ground, and I kept telling myself, if he makes eye contact with me, I'm gonna ask to give him a hug. And he didn't. He just looked at the ground. The biological mother though, I said, do you want to see the baby? And she's like, yeah. And she kind of held his hand a little bit. She cried a little bit, and then I told them, I said, I'm going to take care of him until you get better, because at that point we only had him like 2 or 3 weeks. I said, get better. When you get better, I'll give him back to you. And yeah, here we are today.
So, I mean, would you feel like he was ashamed or of what he's become, or he just was?
I think there was probably a lot of that, because I would say in the time from when I saw him last to this time, he had to have lost at least 30 to 40 pounds, and he did not look like himself. So I think there was a degree of that. I don't know so much. I don't know that he was angry with me. I think he probably felt ashamed. Yeah.
And I mean, really, God's put him in the best possible home he could be in, right? And that ultimately is God's sovereign will for Mateo's life, because he allowed it to happen and he had a plan for him. And just like Christy was here last time, and she was saying, you know, I was adopted when I think she was 2 years old. I don't remember quite how old she was. Mm-hmm. But the change that Mateo could maybe sit in this chair one day, I probably won't be alive, and tell his story of how God, you know, what a testimony how God worked in his life, and what a story he has, that an aunt and an uncle were willing to become mother and father. And I just think, wow, what an awesome parallel between, you know, God redeeming us as lost people out in the world, destined for hell, right? The wrath of God abides on us. And he said, it doesn't have to. You can become my child, right? He became poor that we might be rich. Mm-hmm. And same thing with Mateo, right? He was going to be poor. He really was. He had no family to take him, but somebody stepped up and said, you know what? I'll do it. And that's what I feel God, right? He said, no man, you know, no greater love hath no man than him willing to lay down his life for his friends. And that's what he did for us. And at this point, probably Carlos, and you would probably lay down your life for little baby Mateo, right? Because now he's yours. Mm-hmm. And I seen him with his little Diamondbacks, you know, shirt on, you know, Mercado.
We're hoping he plays for the Diamondbacks someday. That's why I'm investing all this time into him.
Start hitting him little grounders, see what he does, you know.
Well, and then, you know, too, like I mentioned about Carlos, but also his mom and dad and his brothers and sisters, they accepted him from day one. Like before the adoption was even final, they were considering him his nephew and their grandson. And so I just, you know, and my in-laws, they don't speak English, right? So they just, and I say that because this little tiny little white red-haired baby, right, loves his nana and tata that just love on him all the time and look nothing like him, you know, just like Carlos. And it's just really
pretty dark.
Yeah. But I'm saying that too because as in-laws, you know, they have no flesh and blood connection to him, and they loved him so much. They love him still so much. So, you know, it's definitely a blessing in our life, and yeah, God's plan for sure.
And I think that's what it's hard for when we're in the midst of the struggle. We don't see the end result, and we still don't see the end result of what he'll become. And it could be one person that, you know, leads people to Christ, that person has the impact of the world, or maybe they lead, you know, Bible says one soul, right? Heaven rejoices. And the chance he has to become a child of God is much greater in this environment than it would have been if he would have went. And it's just amazing to me how God connects the dots. And sometimes we don't see this, and we'll never see it till we get to eternity. And sometimes God allows us to see that process of his sovereign will and how he uses us if you're willing to be used, right? If you'll say, God, send me, as Mike would say, and God can use you in a powerful way to influence a young baby, right? That who knows what Mateo will be in his life,
Yeah. And sometimes it's difficult for me when people say like, oh, you did this great thing, or you're so selfless, and really it's like, well, okay, yeah, I did that, but I really, really want to just say like it was just all God, because if it was up to me, I'd still be probably wallowing in tears, right? And being like, why? And no, it was all God's doing. I only wanted to be obedient, even though it was difficult, but isn't it? Sometimes when you're trying to be obedient, that's all I want. It's just to be obedient and do his will, because I know that you can't go wrong when you do that.
It's easy to be disobedient. I know that firsthand. But to obey, it takes an element, right? He said, without faith, it is impossible to please me. And this took an element of faith to say, God, is this something you really, really want me to do? Or just a little bit? Like, show me. And he doesn't always show us like that. We just have to take the step of faith. And I praise God that you were willing to take that step of faith and take him in. And ultimately, I praise God for taking us in as lost souls. And he had compassion. And I'm sure you guys throughout this time have compassion for baby Mateo. And it's just been neat to see him from a little baby, to see his adoption, see him in a little suit, or not his little, I think, suspenders he had on, little dress shirt.
He had an edge up, which we found out is not the right haircut for him, so we will never do that again. But
did Carlos do that? Or?
No, it was my fault. I was like, oh, give him a little edge up. That'd be cute. And we were like, ooh, no, that's not. So, yeah.
It's not fitting for him?
It's not fitting for him. He still gets his haircut at the barber. It's just not that haircut.
And now he's being exposed to the Word of God, right? You guys are going to church.
Yep.
You're training him in the way he should go. And I praise God for that. And wow, that's anything you would say that you would do differently, or how has God worked through this, and how is he still working in your life through this adoption?
Well, I wouldn't do anything differently, because I believe that everything I went through, I needed to go through to be where I'm at right now. And anything going forward that he's teaching me is just continuing to like love my children, depend on God. I'm, raising my children how God would want me to is my number one priority. Just hoping that when Teo grows up, like he knows that he's loved. That's it. That he knows that. I think there's a big advantage in him being adopted by people that are his family, because he'll never have to grow up wondering, like, where did I come from? He'll always know where he came from. I will always be honest with him about, like, this is your birth mom, this is your birth dad, at the right time, of course. I don't want him to feel like anybody's holding any secrets from him, but I want him to know that he's loved. And just because he was born how he was, like, doesn't mean that God doesn't have a plan for him. And so, yeah, that's it. Just living every day according to God's will, glorifying him in everything that we do, and just trusting him throughout the whole process.
Do you have any final questions, or
I think you covered it pretty good.
Anything? So it's neat to see the story. I'm excited to see what Mateo will become. Hopefully I'll be alive so he can come on the podcast one day and share his testimony.
Hopefully a Diamondback. Did I mention that?
Yeah, Diamondback.
Yeah. He
He may not come on the show, though, if he's the Diamondback. He might be too big of a deal.
No, he will. I'll make sure.
Like the Ken Lou commercial, he might be a big deal. You know what I mean? I don't know if we can get Tony back due to his status of the Ken Lou. Well, I am thankful that you came on to share your story about Mateo and just how God worked through all of that, and is continuing to work every day, right? Mm-hmm. And you can look back and see the progress that God does with all of us in that sanctification process, and also just obeying him and his will. And I remember Rebecca would make me nervous because she would say, what do you think about adopting somebody? I'm like, I think nothing of it. Like, I don't think of it at all, because I know it's tough, right? It's because you get comfortable. You have your 4 kids, you have your flow, you have your rhythm. And when you bring someone else in the household, whoever it is, it messes up. It's not comfortable no more.
Yeah.
And just like you said, right, you had many nights that, like, hey, I did 4 kids already. Like, I want to just wake up at 9:30 on a Saturday morning. Don't wake me up I don't care if you're hungry, go feed yourself.
Yeah.
You know how to get on the counter and get your cereal.
But then when you go from having 4 daughters who, when they're little, are really like just perfect little, beautiful, studious children, to having this little boy now that like usually has some sort of a hammer or a screwdriver or is like splashing in the toilet. Like it's a lot, right? So I'm just like, oh, how do people with lots of boys survive? I don't know. But then I'm going through preteens now with girls. So I'm just like, oh, it's flipped. It's flipped. Okay, I get it.
Now it gets hard.
Yeah, now it's a whole nother world.
Yeah, I remember 12, 13. Ooh, rough.
I'm at the 12 right now.
It's rough.
Yep.
Well, they think they're 21 and have rights, and I don't know what it is with girls and moms, but they just seem to battle. Like, I don't know. Like I think they're jealous, or they think I'm better than mom, or I won't ever be you because I'm better, and I don't get it.
Yeah.
And that's why moms love boys, because boys don't give them that drama. Sorry,
Yeah.
Kate. You probably won't listen to this podcast anyway, so I'll just tell it like it is. You know what I mean? If you don't like it, too bad. So anyway. Well, any parting words or anybody that you want to say, like, hey, if you're thinking about adoption, or any words of wisdom you can impart, or what God's taught you besides what you've already shared?
I would say that if you're thinking about adoption, to do it, because there are lots of children out there that every child deserves to have their biological mom and dad, to be healthy and to love them and to raise them. And when they don't have that, there's a piece of their heart, just like God, there's always that God-sized hole in our heart, but there's also that wondering too, like, where did I come from? The next best thing, though, to redeem that broken situation is to have loving parents to adopt that child. And so I would just encourage people that if you're thinking about adopting, if you can't have children, or you just want to expand your family, or even being a foster parent, that love can make a difference. And I take my hat off to every person who is a foster parent, because after going what we went through, I don't know that I could do that again for a child that I have no relation to, because it's hard knowing that they could be taken away. So this was just my situation. But for all of those that are foster parents and have like 25 kids that they're able to love and mentor, my hat off to them, because that is a huge calling, and it takes special people to be able to do that.
And just the power that God can use you, and Mateo can look back and be thankful that God really spared his life and brought him into a good, loving family. Mm-hmm. Well, Nicole, thank you for coming on, the co-owner of Kenaloo Air, on us to meet your plumbing, AC, dryer, don't catch your house on fire, vent cleaning. You can check her out if you want more information on the website, or you can call Ben and I or something, and we'll hook you up with the Kenaloo Air to get you taken care of.
Perfect.
Well, everybody, thank you for listening to this episode. If it's been a blessing to you, please do like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next episode.
All right, 72. Thank you, Nicole.
Thank you for listening to the Abundant Life Podcast. We pray you were blessed by today's episode. Please visit us online at abundantlife.fm. Until next time, may God bless you.